The internet is like a gigantic cruise ship with a huge number of passengers sailing around on one fathomless ocean. And you can stay on the ship and be perfectly content to just loll about, or you can deport at any of an almost infinite number of stops. The other day I got off at a 20-minute video of an art gallery opening in Los Angeles. Doing that was purely serendipitous, not so much a matter of why as it was, why not? On the great ship internet, you steam past these ports of call, and if one looks even mildly inviting, why not? You get off, have a look. If it doesn't pan out, it's easy to exit and hop back on board. And I was glad I acted on that urge, because it turned out to be a rather fascinating stop, anthropologically speaking. Being a spectator at a cultural event like standing outside the circle of flames while headhunters danced. Many years ago, Tom Wolfe would have been there, his antenna twitching, sucking the marrow out of the evening, gleefully ready to convert it into a fireworks piece of prose that would burst onto the scene and briefly illuminate it. The first thing that struck me was the sound, the overwhelming noise. It was an enormous space. It might have been an airplane hangar, huge, cavernous, and it was packed with people. And there was this constant booming, roaring background of sound, so loud it was almost palpable, each one of the people adding a voice to the overall cacophony. It wasn't the Tower of Babel only because there was no tower. Because of the nearly crushing sound, my first impression was that I was in a madhouse, bedlam. The artworks fit into that theme. They popped up on the screen like scenes from a nightmare, each one striving to outdo the others in being weird, outre, kooky, kitschy, kinky, garish, ghoulish, or ghastly. The visual aspect of the video was like a video game, one of the first-person shooters, except in this case there was a camera instead of a weapon, so the interaction was more passive. But it was, however strange, also familiar. It was like we were trying to capture or simply observe the creatures, not destroy them. The camera was held at about shoulder level, and it swooped through the crowds of people at about the same speed of one of those video games. The people in the gallery were unquestionably as much of an attraction as the art crowd, in a kind of seething feeding frenzy. The art was a great collection of every kind imaginable. There was representative, symbolic, political, abstract, conceptual, installment, some performance, electronic, video, and computer-generated images. There were paintings, sculptures, and every other media, nothing left out, a big grab bag of art. The anonymous camera never faltered or slowed, but continued its advance, sweeping around people, sometimes zooming in on an artwork, but not stopping, only pausing for a moment before moving on. It was as if the camera was trying to make a record or a survey, a catalog of all the art, without judging any of it. And I was content with that pace. Not once did I wish the camera would linger longer or go back for another closer look. Some of the people were studying an artwork, many were ignoring it, engaging in conversations, small chunks of which could be heard more distinctly as the camera flew by, but never enough to be intelligible, and I began to feel like a tiny drone aircraft, a spy ship, and each of these private conversations added to that unrelenting din. At some point I began to feel submerged, no longer in a plane, but a submarine. A current was sweeping me along, or a tidal pull, and the noise was like the boiling water of my breathing apparatus. I was in one of those winding grottos in Italy. The artworks were the grotesques. There are thousands of these gallery openings in this country every year. Some more intimate, smaller than this one, but regardless of the size, this was the template. Each one of them, so sure of its originality, is exactly like the others. This video presented, like a piece of art or a scientific report, the exact feel and parameters of that experience. In fact, as a documentary, it should be entered into a competition as an unspoken commentary, and in my estimation, it would be worth a prize.